Hello everyone, and welcome back into Quilting by the Numbers. So I need you all to go down and to your dock and open Numbers again and select, if you've made your 2-inch grid or if you've made multiple grids, select the grid that you would like to work on. I'm going to select my initial 2-inch grid that I had created. You can either double click on that or you can select it so it's highlighted in yellow and go down and click the choose button. This will open up your numbers and you will have your grid there. We are going to learn today how to start adding shapes to create designs. The first thing that we need to do is I want to open up my inspector. Again, you're going to learn that the inspector is your friend and you are going to want to have the inspector open probably most of the time. So I'm going to leave it open over here on this side, slightly off the grid so that we can see what we're working on the grid here. Now, as you notice at the top here, there are tons of little icons that you can click on. The one that we mainly are going to use on Numbers for quilting, to design a quilt, is this icon here called Shapes. And that's where we're going to choose a shape to start our design. So I'm going to click on the button and you see it gives you this drop down. We're going to start off pretty simple here, and you'll once you get the hang of this, you will probably get into more than you possibly imagined. And I know that I still have a long way to explore as well. But we're going to click on the square to begin with. And you see what pops up here is a square, and you can see that it is highlighted with little squares or handles on them. You can see if you hover over them, you get these little arrows. So you can tug on those and make them bigger that way. They may become disproportionate if you do that way. I like to use the inspector. So make sure that this is highlighted with those little squares. If you have the little squares, that means that that particular shape is the one that is selected. If you have multiple shapes selected, and we'll get into this later on, probably in another tutorial, if there are multiple shapes selected, which means that they have these little squares around them, whatever you do over here in the inspector will not only apply to this shape, but will apply to the other shapes as long as they are selected. If you only have one shape selected, whatever you do here will only apply to that shape. So we have, just for now, we have this one square, and we want to make that a certain size. So we know our grid size is 2 by 2, but I want that square to be 4 by 4. So I'm over here into the metrics inspector, and I click on the highlighted here. This actually, it's showing me the cells, which I don't want. I want to click on, select this, click on that shape, make sure that is what's selected. When you have chosen your shape and it's selected, initially the square will show up at that size, 1.39 by 1.39. I would like to change that to 4 by 4. So I'm going to highlight 1.39 and type in a 4 and tab over to the next one. You can see how the shape changed. Now the width is 4 inches long, but it's still 1.3 inches wide. I want to make it another 4. So now we've got our square. If I click on that square, hold it down, I can move it around within this graph. Now, because it is 4 by 4, I can fit it in the graph anywhere and covering 4 smaller squares, and it fits perfectly. So I'm going to move it down slightly because I would like some room up at the top, and this is where I'm going to go down here to the bottom and select my 50% so I can see more of my graph. I'm going to bring it down slightly farther. I think I want to put some triangles on that. Maybe make it into a star. Let's choose triangle for now. We're going to bring the triangle up here just off center of the square. I would like that bottom part of that triangle to be the same width as my square, so it will fit nicely. So we go over to the inspector, we highlight the width, and we change it to 4. We tab over, and we're going to change the height to 4 as well. Now you can see I can fit that on there perfectly. Now, the interesting thing is, what if I don't want it sitting in that way? If you see down here in the inspector, there is this bottom bar here. It says rotate. You can type in an angle. So if I want to change the angle of that, I can highlight it and change the angle 45 degree, and it offsets it. But that's not what I want. So I'm going to go back to 0, and now it's sitting that way. But what if I want to flip it? There are these 2 little buttons here where you can flip it that way. So, but you can see I can flip it upside and downside. So depending on how we use color in here, you can have these long points here to create a star, or you can have a little house shape. But I want this to be on all 4 sides. So what I'm going to do is click on that, make sure it's selected again, and I am going to copy and paste that. Yes, you can do that with this. So how I do copy and paste on my Mac is hold down the Command button and then tap the letter C. That copies the shape that we want. Then I want to paste it. So I'm going to hit Command V to paste it. Now I've got 2 of the same shape, but I want 2 more of those. So I'm going to copy and paste it again, Command C and Command V, and then again. So now I'm going to move them into positions on the sides that I would like them. And we are going to rotate and we are going to flip. So I'm going to select this one first. We're going to just flip that upside. So, and you can see these little blue guidelines appear. So when you know that you've got it pretty much in place, it shows you that it's pretty lined up. So you can let go and it's lined up. So now I want to select the next one. And this one, I want it to go the other direction, so we need to rotate the angle. No, not 45, sorry. We want it at a 90-degree angle. Now that's not the direction that I want it shaping or facing, so I'm going to flip it. And it took me a while, it still takes me a while to understand which flip to use, but now I'm going to make sure it's moved into place, and they may be slightly off, but you get them, you get them there pretty well. We're going to change this one to 90 degree as well. So now here's the next thing that we're going to do. I want to show you how to fill these with fabric. First, you probably want to open up. We're going to actually minimize the screen for now. We're going to open up the internet, open up a website that has fabric on it. Funny enough, it would be my website. So anyway, we're going to pick some fabric and we're going to drag it to the desktop. We're going to open up, how about we're going to do some Westminster, I think. And because I love K-Facet so much, we're going to open up some Westminster fabric. I'm going to move this over slightly so that we can start dropping it onto the desktop. I think I want to do nibby reds and yellows. So we're going to drag a yellow, and let's see if we can find a red that we like. There's a lot of fabrics in here, so I'll just pick the first one that I see, and we'll go for that. How's that sound? Well, that's too red. How about we go with Baba Ganoush? That's a nice one. And you can see we have now a new color match system on here. So if I wanted to find other colors, I just click on this and it'll take me to a screen and shows me different colors that would go along with that. So, and I can pick from those fabrics as well. So it shows me other fabrics that might match up nicely. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna pick Baba Ganoush Magenta. And we're just going to use 2 colors for now, but you can see I clicked on the image and I held the mouse down and just dragged it off the screen to my desktop. So we are going to now minimize that screen and we're going to come back to numbers. Okay? So I want to fill the square with a fabric. So I'm going to go up here to the graphic inspector. I'm going to click on the graphic inspector icon. You'll see where the word fill comes up here. And if you click on the arrow, you can fill it with nothing. You can fill it with just plain color. So if you click on color, you'd have to click on this to choose a color. This screen pops up and you can choose a color. We're not going to choose a color. You can pick on gradient fill and it will fill it in a gradient manner from dark to light, and you can also change color on that by clicking on the boxes, but we're not going to do that either. It also does an advanced gradient fill and an image fill. Image fill is what we want. So we're going to select the image first. I want to fill it. This goes right to my desktop where you pick from here where you want to be. And since I pulled those fabrics off to the desktop, I click on desktop. This is what I have on my desktop, all the images that I have there. I'm going to click on the fabric we just chose. I can double click or I can click on it once and click open. You can see that the image goes in there, but it doesn't fill it all the way. This is where you're going to use this option. It says scale to fit. I don't want it to fit, I want it to fill. So I'm going to choose scale to fill. Voila, there is my fabric in there. Now, we want to fill these triangles. So we are going to select the triangles. Now, if I click on one, it's just going to fill the one. But I would like to select the other three as well. So if I click on the one, hold down the Command key on the keyboard, click on the other three at the same time. Now you can see that all four triangles are selected. So I would like to choose image fill again. So I go back over to the inspector, choose image fill. Now it chooses the last image that I had chosen, and it fills the triangles with that. But that's not what I would like to fill it with. So I click the choose button. Again, it brings up my desktop and it shows me what I have again on my desktop. I want to fill it with the Baba Ganoush. So I'm going to click on Baba Ganoush and I'm going to click open. And because I still had scale to fill selected, it fills that image. Now if you click off, you've unselected that. If you like what you have here and you would like to repeat that image, you can select all of the shapes by holding the command button down. Select a shape first, hold the command button down, and select each image or each shape. Once you've selected each shape, go up to the top toolbar, click Arrange, and then scroll down and click Group. That will group that as one image. So now if you click on it and hold it down, you can move. It has become one image. So the whole image now you can see is selected. It's got the little square handles on it. If you'd like to repeat that image, you can do the same as you did with the smaller shapes. You've got it selected so you can copy and paste. So you can hit Command C to copy, Command V to paste. And there is your second image. So we're going to save this so that we can come back to it and change it up slightly. So once you get to this point, I want you to go up to File, click Save As, and we're going to save it as Lesson 1. I'm going to put it in Quilt Designs, is where I want to find it, because that's where I put most of mine. So if you have a folder that you want to put it in that folder. If not, make a new folder and save it to that folder. I'm going to save mine to Quilt Designs. So click Save and it is saved. But when you come and open Numbers Up the next time, it'll be your most recent project. So it'll come right up and you can just open it there as well. So we're going to click out of the inspector and we will come back next time and we will try and I'll show you some more tricks to start building on this quilt. Thanks for stopping in, and we'll see you next time.